The 21st floor boardroom of Whitemore Financial. 9 a.m. Cold white LED lights poured down on a table that stretched like a runway. A dozen men and women in black suits, polished leather shoes gleaming, all dressed as if about to appear on television. Some buried their faces in laptop screens, others adjusted ties or checked watches, but none spared a glance at the girl who had just walked in. The black intern. Her name was Nora Langston, 22. Petite, dark-skinned, her natural curls pinned neatly back. She wore a white shirt faintly wrinkled, trousers worn thin at the knees. One hand balanced a tray of 9 coffees, the other clutched a list of orders. Her back was slightly bent, shoulders tense, eyes darting to match names with tastes. Black, no sugar, iced Americano, half-shot cappuccino, double mocha. At the last cup, she stopped in front of Dylan Mayer, senior manager, nicknamed the Oak Tree of the finance division. Mid-50s, white, salt and pepper hair cropped short, silver glasses, silk charcoal tie. His face was carved with permanent sternness, his demeanor steeped in superiority. He took a sip from the cup she handed him. 1 second later, his brow furrowed, and he shot up from his chair. The room froze. Dylan hurled the paper cup back at her. Hot coffee splashed across her neck, dripping over her shoulder, soaking the front of her shirt. Nora staggered but did not cry out. She stood still, coffee running down her chin, eyes wide open. His voice cut the silence, sharp and unmasked. Coffee this bad? Bitter as your skin. A few chuckles slipped out, hesitant, half swallowed. Some exchanged glances. Some looked away. No one intervened. Dylan tossed the empty cup into the trash, tugging his sleeve as if brushing away dirt. Consider that my reply to what you dared serve me. The air congealed. Someone snickered. Wait a second. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us. Someone pushed up glasses. Someone exhaled like it was all more amusing than cruel. Nora said nothing. She only bowed her head, wiped the coffee streaks from her face. Her hands trembled, not from heat, but from hurt. Not from the coffee, but from the entire room agreeing that humiliation was acceptable for a black girl who brewed bad coffee. She drew one deep breath, then lifted her head. Her dark eyes no longer wavered. They burned like stones forged in fire. Silent, furious, unbreakable. You'll regret this. One sentence. Slow. Clear. She turned and walked out, the wet shirt clinging to her skin, the bitter smell of coffee mixing with cold sweat, and an uneasy silence hanging behind her. No one stopped her. No one spoke. Only the echo of her footsteps fading. Each step like it crushed the hollow shell of decency in that room. 30 seconds after the door closed, whispers seeped back in, dripping with derision. Good riddance. About time that face was gone. Can't even make coffee right. From that day on, the black intern was gone. No resignation letter. No email. No excuse for absence. No contact. Her internal file locked. Her company email auto-replying. Account no longer active. And no one cared. 3 months earlier, a neatly stacked internship file had been placed on the HR desk. Nora T. Langston, senior year, top economics university, GPA 3.9 4.0, recipient of 3 prestigious finance scholarships, CFA Level 1 certified, once treasurer for a disadvantaged youth program in Westmont. The file was spotless, every detail precise, except one line at the bottom. Father, unknown. Mother deceased at 15, self-supporting since then. No one knew when, but that note, orphan, no backing, spread through the departments like a lingering odor. Soon, idle employees stamped a label on her, the black girl with no pedigree, clawing her way up. On her first day, her shoes were frayed but polished to a shine. The shirt was old but pressed crisp. She knocked 3 times, politely, before stepping in. Yet from the first glance, eyes dissected her. Black, no makeup, no designer bag, pants not tailored. She didn't belong here. Hey, that's the new intern. Look at her face, that skin dirty. Nora didn't react. She bowed, opened her notebook, jotted down every word. She had no friends, no mentor. On paper, she was assigned a supervisor. In reality, he was too busy playing golf with the bosses. So Nora became the office dump bin, hauling boxes, photocopying, wiping down whiteboards, carting supplies from storage. Every unwanted chore slid onto her to-do list. No one knew that after work, she limped home on burning feet, then switched on her desk lamp to study. An unpaid internship wasn't an excuse to fail her courses. Her mother had died of liver cancer after years living near a polluted factory zone. On that day, Nora did not cry. She simply held her mother's hand and whispered, "I won't live the life you did. I'll rise." But here in this office she once imagined as a place of growth, she found only spiritual torment. Whispers leaked from corners. She kept staring at my analysis screen. "You think she's trying to steal data?" Last week she was flipping through contracts in the boardroom. Shameless. Typical bottom feeder trying to climb up, disgusting. Nora never argued, but she remembered. Every word, every glance, every smirk. She remembered the times she was berated for daring to ask about commission lines in shady investment files.
"Your job's mopping floors, not counting money."
Each scolding, she stayed silent. But her eyes, steady, unflinching, unnerved them. One afternoon, sent to clean storage, she found stacks of invoices, receipts, scattered contracts. She quietly sorted them, eyes tracing every figure. Duplicate payments, mismatched project codes, forged signatures. She knew, but she said nothing. Instead, she filled her little notebook, threading pieces together in silence. And then the coffee incident. That morning, the boardroom buzzed with tension. The old CEO had just stepped down. Speculation ran wild about his successor. The air was heavy, egos puffed up. Nora was tasked to brew coffee for everyone, a nameless errand, but to her, a rare chance to stand in the right place at the right time. She brewed carefully, hand steady, not a drop spilled, until she reached Dylan Mayer, senior manager, the most powerful man on this floor. White, salt and pepper hair slicked back, navy suit pressed sharp. He sipped, then spat. Bitter, like your filthy black skin. 1 second later, scalding coffee splashed across her face. Heat seared her skin. Her shirt clung, soaked and transparent. She froze, breathing shallow, then dabbed her face with a handkerchief. Her eyes dry, unwavering, met his. Still, silent, like a lake seconds before a storm. "You will regret this." Not a sound followed. She turned and left the boardroom. From that day, she vanished. It became office gossip. Lunch break. The same group who had laughed that morning gathered in the pantry, chewing sandwiches, phones in hand, voices dripping amusement. Heard the black girl got fired, too humiliated to show up. Or maybe sued for mouthing off at a senior. Honestly, what else can an orphan do besides carry trays of coffee? I'm waiting on the new CEO. Hope it's some silver-haired playboy. Easy to sway. Rumor says he's strict. Some claim a Middle Eastern tycoon. Drama's coming. Laughter echoed down the hallway, clinging to the cracks of a company culture rotting beneath its glossy facade. They didn't know. In just a few hours, those laughs would die, along with their tailored suits, polished business cards, and the positions they thought untouchable. That afternoon, the air in the company turned tense. Too tense. Too rehearsed. Rumors had spread since morning. The new CEO is coming for an inspection. Suddenly, every corner was filled with forced politeness. The same managers who usually barked at interns now softened their tone, every ugly habit masked as if yesterday's cruelty had been a bad dream. In the cafeteria, a circle of senior accountants chewed nervously, hiding worry behind gossip. They say he's the traditional type, old school, probably gray hair, loves audits, changes everything. I heard he once ran an international conglomerate. Mergers worth billions, not a drop of sweat. Great. Another cigar-smoking, bald white guy? Not sure. Could be black for all we know. The last remark cracked the table into silence. Someone coughed. Someone chuckled. You must be joking. But no one dared push back. And then the gossip shifted. Fear twisted into mockery. If he's black, he'll sympathize with those poor black interns. Yeah, Cue the equality campaigns. Sounds like chaos already. Laughter echoed through the cafeteria, smug and careless. By 4 p.m., the entire building held its breath. The ground floor stretched wide. Receptionists fidgeted with collars. Managers lined up on sofas with plastic smiles. Employees sat at desks, pretending to type, eyes fixed on the elevator. The doors slid open. Silence. A black man stepped out. Black suit, sharp white shirt, steel gray tie, tall frame, broad shoulders, each step cutting through the air. His face calm, his gaze unsmiling, yet the weight of authority pressed down like stone. Behind him, Nora, the intern everyone thought had quit. The girl drenched in hot coffee, the one ordered to scrub basement toilets, the one mocked as the coffee maid. But not this time. Nora walked in a tailored gray suit, hair tied high, lips brushed in muted red, back straight, eyes honed like glass cutters. Confidence radiated from her stride. The same employees who once sneered now froze in place. A manager blinked hard. Another shielded his face with a laptop. Someone swallowed dry. The man stopped at the center of the lobby. His voice carried low and sharp. "I'm Charles Langston, the new CEO of Whitemore Capital." His eyes swept across the hall, not searching, but memorizing. Then his hand lifted, pointing to Nora. "This is Nora Langston, my daughter. She interned here for the last 3 months. She lived inside the very culture I'm about to take over." A pen clattered to the floor. A phone slipped from trembling hands. Mouths fell open. Dylan Mayer, the one who had hurled coffee in her face, stared, blood-drained pale. "Yes," Charles continued, voice steady. "She is my daughter. But when I placed her here, I told no one. I wanted her to tell me what this company truly is." Silence. Heavy, suffocating. Then the boardroom doors swung open. Father and daughter entered. Lights dimmed, the projector lit. Nora opened her laptop. The big screen flickered alive. A video. Co-workers laughing as they threw files at her. An audio clip. Dylan's voice sneering. "A black girl like you, dreaming of promotion? Only in fiction." Internal emails. Proof of forged contracts, fake invoices, kickback schemes. Screenshots. A messenger chat named White Camp, filled with racist memes, insults about Nora's orphan past. Bank statements. Money siphoned through ghost contracts, disguised as internal coordination. The screen flashed image after image, each one a slap, stripping the room bare. Dylan's jaw locked, his throat bobbed, choking on his own breath. Charles stood still, hands folded, gaze cold. Nora was no intern now. She was a voice reclaimed. She glanced at her father, nodded. The screen went dark. The room drowned in silence. And then the storm began. The air in the boardroom thickened like tar. Faces that once smirked and mocked the black intern now drained pale, stripped of their familiar masks. On the wall, the projector kept flashing proof. Each image, each recording slicing into whatever dignity they thought they had left. Langston's voice, measured, calm, but final, cut through the silence like a verdict. "From today on, I will not allow anyone in this company to discriminate, exploit, or trample others for power or profit, no matter the color of skin, gender, or background." He walked to the head table, opened his leather case, and pulled out a file. "This is the list of those terminated effective immediately for suspected violations of law. Some cases are already with internal investigators and outside counsel." One stroke of his pen severed privileges built over years. Each signature felt like a blade. Names were read aloud. Names of those who had laughed at Nora, spat on her efforts, treated her as less than human. One burst into tears. Another tried to argue. But when Langston raised his hand, the room dropped into silence. Then he turned to his daughter. The intern, once left trembling with a tray of coffee, now stood tall, eyes bright, storm-weathered. "You showed me the truth of this place," he said. "No longer as a CEO, but as a father. No report or spreadsheet could reveal what your 3 months here did. You showed me exactly where this company must be cleansed." Nora's gaze swept the room. Some couldn't meet her eyes, knowing their silence had fed her humiliation. Others looked back with quiet respect. The gray-haired accountant who once slipped her a tissue after a brutal meeting. The warehouse clerk who wordlessly helped carry files. The good ones remained, and Langston himself promoted them. People like you, he told them, are the foundation of a just company. The screen lit again. A reform plan. Transparent finances. Fair performance reviews. Zero tolerance for discrimination. An anonymous whistleblower line. No promises on paper. This was action. After that meeting, the company shed its old skin. Halls once heavy with silence now echoed with greetings. Suspicion gave way to cautious respect. Weeks later, in a sunlit office with head of HR reform engraved on the door, father and daughter sat across from each other. Nora, in a crisp white blouse, hair tied, draft training program spread on her desk. "You've done well," Langston said, voice deep, warm, "not just for the company but for me. You taught me some things can't be fixed from a distance. You have to see them up close, and sometimes you find more than you expected." Nora smiled. The wounds no longer hid in her eyes. What remained was growth, sharpened through sleepless nights. "I only hope no one else has to go through what I did here." Langston nodded, regret flickering in his gaze. "I'm sorry, daughter. Sorry you bore that weight. As long as I can act, I'll make sure it never happens again. Not to you, not to anyone here. No tears, no embrace, just a quiet nod. Two sets of eyes fixed on the same horizon." A few weeks later, someone passing the old boardroom stopped in their tracks. On the wall now gleamed a brass plaque. "Anyone can be somebody, but don't let power make you forget you were once just human." Beneath it, a new group photo. Nora no longer the trembling girl with a coffee tray. She stood in front, head held high. No words were needed. She had spoken long ago, through her silence, through her endurance. Now, Nora was building something else. Not just a future for herself, but a new life for a company once rotted by blind arrogance. Messenger. Not everyone is born with the privilege of respect. For many, especially people of color, those without wealth, without connections, life feels like climbing a mountain in fog, each step weighed down by prejudice. Yet sometimes, the ones dismissed as insignificant see most clearly where the rot begins. Nora's story, the black intern, daughter of the CEO, isn't just about exposing bullies or exacting revenge. It's a reminder, never judge someone by skin color or by the rung they stand on today. Some endure in silence, watching, waiting, and when they rise, they don't just claim justice for themselves, they shake the entire system. Respect doesn't grow from fear or titles. It grows when you learn to see people through the lens of truth, and sometimes, the one serving coffee today may hold the power to decide tomorrow.